Cleaning up a file prior to cutting it. This is a rather laborious piece of work, and if you look at this particular job, you can see that we've got lots of dimensions, lots of details, lots of edge details. It's always important, and I'm going to just pick on this piece right here because it's a good size one, to try and make it as easy as possible for your plotter to cut the job. Now, all we're basically asking is that you highlight the item like this and you just delete the details. What this will do is it'll make it a lot easier when it comes time to cutting the job, because otherwise the plotter will recognize these dimensions on this file, and by removing them, we're going to cut down a lot of unnecessary stuff that the plotter shouldn't even be cutting, and is in some cases will just slow down your work. So by simply just eliminating these items, now we have the basics of what we need here. Now, it would always be a good idea to have this particular file backed up someplace as another reference point. But so what we would have now is the ability to just go ahead and send this up to the plotter. And here we have it ready to go. Rotate it, and now we could cut the job. Now, the other side of this that I will illustrate for you now is what happens if you don't do this. We're going to grab one of the other pieces that we have here, the small one. If you don't do this, we just go right away, just jump right in and want to cut it. What's going to happen here is, you see, everything appears. It wants to cut everything. By removing those, what we're going to end up with is all this unnecessary stuff that the plotter is going to want to cut, which is a giant waste for you guys when it comes to getting things done. Yes. I'm going to come over here and grab this other piece right here, and it's going to be even worse as far as the amount of information that it's going to want to cut. You can see everything, and now when we go through the process of slicing it, all of this information here and here, it's going to want to cut this, and it's going to include this. Now, the dimensions, the dishwasher, your center line, your edge details, if you want to leave those on there, that's fine. It'll still cut that into the job. It's just these other extraneous pieces that we don't want. And here they all are. This is the problem. Now you've got all these. We're only looking for 2 pieces in here. So what you end up with is a lot of Mickey Mouse. And all we're really going for is, you got to use the control key, is 1. And where is number 2? There's 3. See where, if you had this all eliminated, there's 1 and 2. So there's your 2 pieces that you actually wanted on the job. If you were to look at this on the whole and everything, it just turns into just a pile of wasted vinyl versus just going for this guy and this guy. And 194, so we could actually start cutting this piece. So the time it takes to go back and detail out the file is well worth the energy. Just as simple as coming through here and deleting all this stuff. That way you can just get right to cutting the job. It's really not that much energy just to throw a rope around all this stuff and duplicate it, or delete it, I should say. Now, the other way around this is if we were just to say, okay, I'm going to grab it all, then you just have to go hunting for these pieces in that continuous list, and then you could start cutting it. So, slice, packet, auto, yes. We still have all these guys, but we're just looking for number one, control key here, and scrolling up, number two. So we've got our two pieces, and then we go to sending it to the plotter and cut. Every once in a while you're going to run into a job that's a little awkward, a little bit hard to deal with, and it'd be nice to have a manual function to be able to manipulate your plotter. And what we're going to do is show you how to make that happen now. There is a way of getting around the automated side of it, and this is it. So we basically come up here and we create a new screen, a working screen, as we've done in the past. We're going to grab the same barren job and drop it on the screen, and as I always like to do a save as. So we'll just walk right through this. Find that customer's account. $234 Creek. Yep, go ahead. So it's named. So here's what we do. We basically we back out where we can see it like we've done in the past. Come up here to cut. Slice. And you can see now we have our layout. We can work with it in the X or in the Y. This particular screen is the only way that you can manipulate this and do it manually. The Y will give you this horizontal function, and the X will be the opposite. What you see here is we're moving down until it basically gives you, that's your 30 inches of material. You go beyond this, now you've gone beyond the material thickness. So go to the next, come back over here, pick up where you left off till you just get to that point, and again till you reach that point. Oh, looks like this is going to be really close. We're going to have a really stupid little cut here at the bottom, and there it is. So that's a manual way of doing this, and you can do it in the X or the Y. Now notice that what happens here is when you're completed, instead of it being these letters being bold like these here in dark colors, they're gray. So now we're basically unable to do anything else. in this function as far as manually. So I would probably look at this and say, oh, this is pretty much a lame issue here, but I'm also going to bet that my problem here is I made this piece up here bigger than the 30-inch material. So we're going to do this all over again.